You sure you want to come to court today?
Absolutely.
Well, why? You didn't attend yesterday.
Yes, I know, but this is different. I wouldn't miss today's for the world.
Because of Bobby?
Yes, I'm very concerned about her being a witness for the prosecution.
Yeah, it bothers me too.
Could she be so angry at Ginny about the gaslighting business that she won't tell the whole truth about Brock?
The whole truth?
You know what I mean. About his tendency for violence. Bobby's the only one who knows what he was capable of.
Thank you for taking me to court, Jake.
No problem. This is one trial I wouldn't miss even if you weren't taking a stand.
You and everybody else. The courtroom will be mobbed, won't it?
Oh, yeah. You'll be playing the standing room only.
Wonderful.
Bobby, now that you've had a chance to mull over your testimony, you want to discuss it?
Nope.
So much for idle chat over morning coffee.
Now, Jake, you are going to hear what I have to say in court along with everyone else, including the DA, the judge, and Ginny Blake. And before today is over, everyone is going to know exactly what happened the night my husband was murdered.
Hi.
Hi.
I see you're all dressed for the wars.
Yeah. Well, good it'll do.
Here's your mail.
I don't want to see any more mail.
Ginny, it's not hate mail. I checked that out.
I guess my fans are taking a day off. Oh, I know, a little sympathy mail.
Who's it from?
2 magazines who want me to resubscribe.
I'll take care of it.
Save your money. I'm not going to be around to read them anyway. After today, I'll be lucky if I have anything to read besides prison graffiti.
Bobby's in a difficult position, and she can handle it in a couple of ways.
But the truth is the truth, Robert.
She could answer every question truthfully and still destroy Ginny's case.
How?
Well, the DA is going to ask Bobby to concentrate on, well, using your words, Brock's tendencies for violence.
Well, what would you call it?
I'm not testifying today. Bobby is. All she has to do is answer Morgan's questions cleanly, without embellishment, and she will aid his case against Ginny enormously.
How?
By carefully omitting any reference of Brock's hatred of Ginny. I mean, assuming, of course, that Bobby could recite many such incidents, which I'm sure she could if she wanted to.
But doesn't that fall into the category of lies of omission, if not commission?
But you see, considering what Ginny did to Bobby, I mean, if you were her, how would you feel?
I'd want Ginny to be punished, which I do anyway. But suppose Bobby does know of some incidences that could help clear Ginny.
Now, if the DA were to get involved in that line of questioning, which he wouldn't, Bobby would be obligated to answer the questions truthfully. But Morgan's not going to touch upon that area. I mean, well, whether Bobby chooses to bring up such incidents or not is really up to her own conscience.
What a bind.
Yeah, I hate the whole stinking mess. I mean, what Bobby's been through, what she's going to go through, what Rick's been through, what this case is going to do to Ginny. I mean, I'm beginning to think I don't really have the stomach for this line of work.
Listen to you. You may have the reputation on the street as being a tough cop, but I know the truth inside you just marshmallow.
Yeah, well, that'll be our little secret, huh?
Okay. My lips are sealed. Tough guy.
Well, you better be going.
Hope Bobby does the right thing.
Whatever that is.
Listen, Bobby. I didn't mean to pry as to what you're going to say on the witness stand today. I thought maybe I could help you work it out, that's all.
It's already worked out.
So I gathered.
Jake, there is no issue that you can raise about my testimony today that you haven't already raised, or that I haven't thought about myself.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think I could come up with a few things.
Oh, but I've got the lecture down pat. Now, Bobby, your testimony today is between you and your conscience, and it will affect many lives. Not only Ginny's, but her husband's life and her son's life as well. And don't forget your own life.
A few very good points.
Don't you forget that this whole messy affair has had the most profound effect on only one life, Brock's. It ended it. And whatever else the man was, he was my husband. Am I supposed to overlook that?
I guess I've been thinking like a defense attorney. Sorry. Reflexes.
That's how you feel.
Bobby, how I feel is irrelevant. If Brock hated Ginny, that is relevant evidence, and it needs to be submitted by someone.
Ginny Blake's case is not my problem. I will go in there and I will tell my version. Let her lawyer take care of her.
Bobby, I have never seen you like this.
Sorry. I've never testified in my husband's murder case before.
I know, you must be under a terrible burden.
You also know that I tell the truth, Jake.
All anybody can ask.
Right.
Well, let the chips fall where they may for Ginny Blake.
Is the patient in good spirits? No complaints of pain? Good. There's nothing I can do about the service. All right, continue the medication as I prescribe. I'll try and check in a little later. Thanks. Ginny, what is all this?
What do you mean?
All the talk about prison.
Haven't you heard? I'm going.
What happened to the street fighter?
I guess you took one too many punches.
You sound like you're defeated. Ginny Blake, I happen to know, doesn't understand the definition of that term.
I'm just being realistic.
It is not over, Ginny.
Oh, but the sentencing.
Don't be ridiculous.
Were you in the same courtroom I was in yesterday?
Yes, I was. It doesn't look good. That's fact. But it is not hopeless.
The DA was on a roll the minute he opened his mouth. He's got an open and shut case. If I were the judge, I'd be leaning towards the guilty verdict. And if he isn't, once he hears Bobby drive the final nail in my coffin, he will be.
You don't know that.
I am pleading justifiable homicide.
Right?
My defense rests on the contention that Brock was in a homicidal rage the night he died. If Bobby doesn't substantiate that, I have no defense.
You're being, I would say, overly pessimistic.
What else do I have to look forward to?
Well, you have Tony's testimony, for one thing. I'm sure he's going to talk about the gliomic tumor that was exerting pressure on the man's brain, which contributed to the violent behavior.
I don't think that'll help much.
Why not?
Because the pressure was intermittent, and it cannot be proved that it was working on Brock the night I saw him in the penthouse.
There has to be some way of substantiating that claim.
Well, I'm sure if there were, my lawyer, Brett Madison, would find a way. No, the only realistic outlook is a pessimistic one. I have to prepare myself for prison. That's why I've done this.
What's that?
A list of things that need to be taken care of for Mike. New clothes, dental appointments, et cetera, et cetera.
I don't want
I
that.
won't be around here to do it for him.
I don't want that.
Please take it. Somebody has to do them when I'm gone. Please keep this, Rick. It'll make me feel much better. We all have to face the future. I'm going to prison. And there's nothing any of us can do to prevent it.
Lorena, we gotta
Yes, I'll hold. What is
do something about the problem with the weight machines. We got 4 of them down, and some of the members are starting to complain.
Yeah, well, just a second. I'm talking to my lawyer.
Moffat? The spot can wait.
Yes, Mr. Moffat. 2 weeks? That's soon. No, that's okay. You got to see me today. Well, yes, I could come by the courthouse. Fine, I'll see you then.
That was about the palimony suit?
Moffat scheduled a preliminary court hearing in 2 weeks.
Fantastic.
Yeah, he wants to see me today to clear up some points on my case.
Great. Where? In his office?
No. At the courthouse. He's involved in some other case, and so he said he'd be down at the courthouse all day, and I guess I'll go down there later.
Well, don't sound so thrilled about it.
I would if I were.
Well, this is what you want, right? I mean, you're about to earn some serious money, Lorena. You should be on cloud 9.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Just, I'm not sure that what I'm doing is right.
Well, the only thing wrong would be losing the suit.
You know what I mean? A move like this would be so irrevocable.
You're right. Once you get the money, there's nobody gonna take it back from you.
I mean, all those good feelings you have for someone are suddenly replaced by greed and hatred.
Look, Jimmy Lee replaced those feelings, right? Not you. He was the one who made all the bad moves. You're just making sure he pays for them.
Maybe I should give him a second chance.
Lorena, you have given him so many second chances. Will you take a hint? The man just uses you until he's had enough of you, and then he kicks you out. Now, guys like Jimmy Lee exploit people like us all the time.
I don't know, Leo.
Baby, I do. Now, come on, what's with you? You're tense.
It's this palimony suit. It's got me worried.
Well, the only thing you got to worry about is where you're going to spend all this money. Right now, all you need is the old touch of Dr. Leo's magic fingers.
You will go with me today to see Moffat, won't you?
Baby, I'll hold your hand every step of the way. Okay?
You're a good friend.
You don't know how good. There you go.
Oh, that feels wonderful.
Nurse Cassoni reports to Dr.
Is it true what it said in this morning's newspaper? Bobby's testimony could really send Ginny Blake to prison?
I don't know about that. Ginny is a very high-powered attorney, and he's got a strong case for the defense.
But she confessed.
It's not a question of whether she pulled the trigger or not. It's whether or not she had a reason for doing it.
You think the trial will be over today?
Are you kidding? Madison still has to present the case for the defense after the prosecution is finished, and that could take a couple of weeks.
I wish we could see some of it.
So do I.
I wish there was some way we could find out what's going on today.
There is.
How?
You know Wanda?
Sure.
Well, today's her day off. And I asked her to spend it down in the courtroom listening to that case.
All right.
So we'll be among the first to know anything.
Georgia, do I have any messages?
Oh, I'll check.
Thank you.
Gail,
Yeah,
can I ask you
here you
something?
are.
Thank you. Yes, Amy, what?
Why weren't you brought in as a witness for the defense?
Well, why should I have been?
Because you're one person who could have said just how crazy Brock really was.
Amy, I treated Bobby, not her husband.
Good point. Sorry.
The one I'm really concerned about is Rick.
Oh, me too. This whole ordeal must have been so difficult for him and Mike.
It's especially hard for Mike.
Are you doing anything special for him?
Well, he's spending the night with a friend whose parents are very understanding, and they're very happy to have him, you know, for Rick as well as for Mike, so...
Amy, I'm afraid one night isn't going to be enough help for Rick and Mike. You know, things like this have a tendency to have far-reaching repercussions.
Yeah, especially if they find Jenny guilty.
There'll be a circus on your main event.
You and Bobby. Maybe the crowd will root for us if we can get them on our
The
side.
only person I want on my side is the judge.
Ready to do better.
How about a statement, Mr. Morgan?
Well, the state is very confident that we will win a conviction in this trial. We have a very strong case against the defendant.
And an ace in the hole, right? What do you expect Bobby Brock to say when she takes a stand today?
Well, I won't attempt to anticipate Mrs. Brock's testimony. You'll just have to hear it along with everyone else. But I will tell you this, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Now, if you'll excuse me, ladies and gentlemen,
One more question. Wait, Ginny Blake.
Not now, folks.
How do you plan to counter Bobby Brock's testimony?
Miss Blake has no comment.
Come on, counsel, give us a break. It's maybe our last chance.
Give us a break.
What do you plan to
Are you sure you won't take the stand on Ginny's behalf?
No, I told
Listen,
you
it's not too late to change your mind.
No!
Terry, your testimony would counteract Bobby's. It would help Ginny a lot, and I in turn could help you. Do you understand that?
I am not going to testify for a woman who murdered my father. Not even for a job.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, no, excuse me. How does it feel being responsible for sending Jenny Blake to prison?
I wasn't aware the judge had brought down a verdict.
Oh, it's just a matter of time, isn't it? I mean, after he hears what Bobby Brock has to say.
I don't presume to second-guess the judiciary system, but then again, I'm not a member of the press.
What are you so touchy for? Your side's winning. Commissioner, you are a personal friend.
How do you think Bobby Brock's testimony is going to be going today?
Court will come to order, ladies and gentlemen, please. Court will come to order. All rise. Be seated.
Mr. Morgan, you may resume the case for the prosecution. Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the court, I'd like to request that the court clerk read back a brief passage from exhibit number 4. That is, the accused's confession regarding her gaslighting.
Objection! Your Honor, the prosecutor's constant references to my client as the accused are a blatant attempt to influence this court against her. If he is allowed to continue, may I request that I be allowed to refer to him as the hangman?
That won't be necessary, Mr. Madison. Your objection is sustained. In future, refer to the defendant as such or by name.
Which name, Your Honor? She goes by many.
Your Honor.
That is enough, Mr. Morgan. Now, may we continue?
To go on to the exchange after Ms. Blake's attorney protested the question indicating the defendant took steps to assure Bobby Brock would be convicted of murdering her husband.
Objection!
Your Honor, I'm merely referring to statements which already exist in the court record.
Overruled. Proceed.
Commissioner Scorpio asked Ginny Blake, and I quote, "Did you drug Mrs. Brock and slash her husband's scrapbook?" Unquote.
And what was Miss Blake's reply?
Yes.
Ginny Blake admitted she drugged the victim's wife, then mutilated a scrapbook of D.L. Brock's in order to make it appear that Mrs. Brock had subconsciously revealed violent impulses toward her husband. Your Honor, I call Bobby Brock to the stand.
May I remind the witness she's still under oath. You may proceed.
Mrs. Brock, what is your profession?
I'm a nurse.
And for the record, your relationship with D.L. Brock?
He was my husband.
You are a nurse, an individual with considerable experience dealing with people under stress.
Objection! Counsel is questioning the witness, not addressing a jury.
Sustained. Let the witness make the statements.
Sorry, Your Honor. Mrs. Brock, would you describe in your own words the events on the night in question? Your husband came home to the penthouse from a party at the television studio.
Oh, well, Terry, D.L.'s daughter, and I were about to leave. We had packed some suitcases, and D.L. came in the door.
Say, that Moffat is sharp. I was really impressed with the way he handled himself during our meeting, weren't you?
I suppose.
I mean, when he just said that you'd get a large settlement out of this, I just about jumped up and cheered.
Money isn't everything.
Oh, what it isn't, I don't need.
It isn't Jimmy Lee. He and I had some good times together.
Oh, yeah, right. He had a ball taking you for a ride.
What's going on? This guy just left me a message.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, boss, but we got a problem down at the station.
Do I have to handle everything over there? Can't Ross make one decision?
No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. It's just he sent me.
Okay, listen, whatever it is, I'll take care of it later. Okay, I have a trial to attend.
Yes,
Derek.
Oh, Lorena, hi, Leo. You here for the trial?
No, but I am interested in how it's going.
Well, so far it's all prosecution, and the DA has a witness in the stand right now that may deliver the final blow.
Strangely, that whole week.
Looks bad for Ginny Blake.
Yeah, well, she was doomed the minute she met Brock.
What makes you say that?
Well, it's the same old story. Another tycoon just dumping on the woman who helped him get where he is.
Where Brock is 6 feet under.
Yeah, well, that doesn't excuse the way he treated Ginny Blake. I mean, talk about cruel and unusual punishment. People like Brock and Jimmy Lee, they don't care about anything but their careers. If they got to walk over a woman to get in their way, it's no big deal. There'll always be another one where that one came from.
But Jimmy Lee wasn't always like that.
Money changes everything. Look, Jimmy Lee couldn't get enough of you, and he had to work for his money. Now that he's got his millions, it's, Lorena who?
Doesn't seem fair, does it?
Fair? It's criminal, honey. Which is why you shouldn't have the slightest qualms at all about taking him to trial. It's right where he belongs.
Suppose I do hate Jimmy Lee.
With good reason.
Yeah, but I would never do to him what Ginny did to Brock.
No. Smoking guns are messy for all concerned, and besides, they're not profitable. All right? Now, what you got to do to Jimmy Lee is wound him right where it's going to hurt him the most, in his pocketbook.
Mrs. Brock, you stated that you are a nurse and the deceased wife.
Yes.
As such, would it not be accurate to describe you as an authority on D.L. Brock's emotional state?
Objection. Mrs. Brock is a nurse, as we've been reminded over and over again, not a psychiatrist. If the prosecution wants an expert witness, let them call one with degrees.
Your Honor, I am not asking Mrs. Brock to respond as an expert witness, but only as a wife who also happens to have a working knowledge of the healing arts. Now, who among us would not argue that a wife doesn't know her husband best?
Hardly a legal justification, Mr. Morgan, but in the context, I'll allow it. Objection overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mrs. Brock, let me repeat the question. Is it accurate to describe you as an authority on your husband's emotional state?
I would say so, yes.
You testified you and your husband quarreled with some frequency in the weeks prior to his death, including the night the defendant shot him.
Yes.
Now, several times, you mentioned he became quite angry at you.
He did.
At you and you alone. Isn't that correct, Mrs. Brock? Isn't it true that D.L. Brock's anger was directed solely at you, his wife, in large part because he suspected you were involved with another man? In other words, Mrs. Brock, wasn't your husband's rage inspired by domestic problems and therefore focused entirely on you? No.
In my opinion, as a wife and as a nurse, my husband was in a homicidal rage the night he died.
Yes, and he was mad at you, right?
D.L. was mad at the world. And I believe that anyone who showed up at the apartment that night would have been in danger.
Wait a minute.
All it would have taken is a seemingly harmless word or gesture to set him off. A complete stranger could have been his target. He was, in every sense of the word, primed to kill.
What?
Order! I will have order!
Mrs. Brock, perhaps you misunderstood my question.
I understood it perfectly.
Nevertheless, let me rephrase it. I understood from your earlier statements your husband's rage was domestic in nature. That is to say, directed only at you.
Objection. Counsel is coaching the witness.
Perhaps, Mr. Madison, but I'll let the question stand. Frankly, I'm curious to hear the witness's answer. You may respond to the question.
Your Honor, I have given this whole matter a great deal of thought, and I know I'm under oath. Now, you want the truth, and that's exactly what I am giving you. Without a doubt, my husband was primed to kill that night. And I am convinced anyone who provoked him could easily have become a target. As a matter of fact, I was concerned about Terry as well as myself. And had I known that he was going to have another visitor that evening, I would have been frightened for her.
Thank you, Mrs. Brock. Your Honor, I am afraid that I must ask for an immediate recess.
Objection.
As you may have gathered, this has come as quite a surprise to us.
Surprise or not, I refuse to agree to a recess at this time. That is, of course, my privilege, Your Honor. If the district attorney is finished with this witness, I have every right to cross-examine her, and that is one right I haven't the slightest intention of relinquishing.
Your Honor, under the circumstances, I believe a recess is in order. Mrs. Brock is, in fact, a witness for the prosecution, although her performance here today might well lead you to believe otherwise.
Should the defendant be punished because the prosecution doesn't know its own witnesses?
I am not ready to grant a recess today. Now, if the state has no further questions for the witness, I'll turn the proceedings over to the counsel for the defense.
I have no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mrs. Brock, my colleague has ably established you as an authority on D.L. Brock. In that capacity, was there ever a time when you observed your husband's homicidal rage directed against the defendant?
Yes. D.L. hated Ginny Blake.
Why?
Chiefly because he felt that she betrayed him when he hired her to frame Rick Weber for taking bribes.
Why did he think that?
Because Ginny wouldn't go through with it, and D.L. never forgave her for that.
Order in the court. I must ask you to refrain from such outbursts. Now, any further disturbance, I shall be forced to clear the court. You may continue.
I think that's more than enough for now, Your Honor. I have no further questions of this witness.
You may step down.
Your Honor, may I repeat my urgent request for a recess?
I was just about to suggest the same thing myself, Counselor. I wish to see you and Mr. Madison in my chambers immediately. Course recessed for 15 minutes. All right.
You are great.
And you worried about Bobby's lust for revenge?
Well, you weren't sure what she'd say, are you?
Never doubted it for a minute.
Well, I have to admit, from what she'd been saying, I did, but I was certainly very pleased to be proven wrong.
Bobby?
No, I have
You Spencers really come through in the clinch.
And you keep us guessing right to the last minute, don't you?
Learn from two masters. You and my brother.
So it would have been
Thanks, Robert. All I did was tell the truth.
And that is the beauty of it. You were up there on that stand, you probably thought you were just doing what you had to. It was the only thing to do, right? Bless you for doing it. So, what do you think is happening in the judge's chamber?
I can appreciate your concern. It was painfully obvious that Mrs. Brock's testimony took you by surprise.
He wasn't the only one.
No, I imagine you were pleasantly surprised. Now, her testimony certainly supports your contention that her husband's death was a case of justifiable homicide. Don't you agree?
Well, frankly, at this point, I don't know what to think.
I feel it only fair to warn you I'm leaning toward the defense even before they present their case.
Well, under the circumstances, I can't say I blame you. Bobby Brock certainly sabotaged my case.
The question is it salvageable?
As in, let's not forget the defendant's husband. Dr. Rick Weber is a very respected member of this community. Ginny Blake herself has built an excellent reputation for herself as a television journalist.
We are prepared to bring character witnesses to support that.
Yes, I'm sure you can bring a parade of them, if that should prove necessary. And we might also do well to consider Mrs. Brock. You know, though it had to have been tremendously difficult for her to get on the stand and testify like that against her husband, she did it without hesitation. The woman told the truth. I, for one, admire her for it. And that's why we're here, isn't it? To uncover the truth?
Absolutely, and this new evidence presented by Mrs. Brock clearly alters the state position. In fact, at this very moment, the prosecution is considering a motion for dismissal.
Yes, I thought it might be.
In light of the striking developments, the state has come to believe justice will be best served if the charges against the defendant are dropped immediately.
No, that's a very wise decision, but let's not go overboard here. You know, there are other charges pending against Jenny Blake, which we must review. As for murder, too, I think we've reached an agreement on that, haven't we?
Why are you supposed to be taking so long in there?
I don't know. I can only suspect that it will help you.
Can you believe what Bobby said on the stand? Rick, she didn't have to testify like that. She could have sent me away. She chose not to. Why?
She has a lot of integrity, Jenny. I've known her for a long time. I have never respected her more than I do now.
Well, who knows? It still may mean nothing. What you said may not amount to much of anything.
It does to me.
Order in the court. Will the court officers please summon all those with business herein? This session is about to resume. All rise.
Let me begin by reminding this court that the state's rationale for holding trials is to serve justice, not to prosecute the innocent. In this spirit, the district attorney has asked me to make a motion. Mr. Morgan?
Your Honor, if it pleases the court, the state would like to express its admiration for Mrs. Bobby Brock. A short while ago, she took that stand and proceeded to accomplish what, under the circumstances, had to be a most difficult task. She told the truth. Her testimony provided completely new information to the prosecution, and I dare say to the defense as well. Now, in light of this new evidence, and in recognition of Mrs. Brock's dedication to the truth, I move this court dismiss the murder charge against Jenny Brock.
Order. Order. This court applauds your motion, Counselor, and agrees with it wholeheartedly. I trust the defense has no objections?
Not this time, Your Honor.
Will the defendant please rise? Jenny Blake, I hereby dismiss the charge of murder, too, against you in the death of D.L. Brock. The court wishes to notice there are further charges pending. However, at this time, the defendant is free to go.
All right. Okay. Care to comment on the actions of further charges? Jenny Blake's not off the hook yet. Let me be the first to congratulate you.
Fred, I don't believe it.
Believe it.
What about these other charges?
Don't worry about that for now. This was the major round, Jenny. You won it.
Lots of people. I know that. Bobby. Thank you. I don't know what to say, but thank you.
Thank me.
You saved me from going to prison. I don't know if I deserve that or not. But I want you to know that I am so sorry.
Well, save it, okay? Save it. I didn't do it for you. What happened today has nothing to do with what's going on between us. I will never forgive you.
Then why give testimony to set me free?
Because it was the truth.
Second floor, Miss Vining. Wanda, what's happening? What? Bobby did what? I don't believe this. You're kidding me. Where wait till I tell everybody. Oh, Wanda, thank you so much for calling me. Thank you. Goodbye.
What's all the excitement?
Bobby just saved Ginny.
What?
Bobby just gave a testimony that, and now Ginny's free.
I don't understand.
What's going on?
Amy, did you say something about Bobby? Yeah, she's a hero. She just went on the stand and said that Ginny was justified in shooting Brock.
You're kidding.
She said that?
I don't know if those were her exact words. I don't think it really matters exactly what she said. All that matters is that Bobby just saved Ginny.
You mean
She's
Ginny
off.
is free? Wait till you hear how it happened.
I'm so happy I could absolutely cry.
I didn't know you were tight with Ginny.
It's not just Ginny. It's Mike and it's Rick. This is going to make a world of difference for them.
You must have been pretty grim at home lately, huh?
It's been so bad you can't even imagine. I didn't even realize how upset I was over this whole thing. Bobby, wherever you are.
Great. A little closer together, please. Beautiful.
Thank you. Come on, that's enough. Come on, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mrs. Brock. That was a classy thing you did up there on the stand.
I was so moved.
Even brought a tear to my eye. All the people in Port Charles are proud of you. My hat's off to you.
Thank you.
Well done, darling.
Oh, sweetheart, now that it's behind us, let's go somewhere and celebrate.
Yes, let's do. Let's go to the penthouse. Why don't we?
And celebrate the champion you are. You are my girl.
Good. Granted, Bobby stole the show, but we won the trial. Should someone be congratulating us?
Jenny, how does it feel to have lucked out? Beautiful. How about another one? There you go.
I still can't get over Bobby's performance.
Well, I knew she'd come through. You see, character is like water.
I've got a feeling I'm going to be awfully sorry if I ask why.
And under pressure, it invariably seeks its own level.
You make that one up yourself?
Well, I'll repeat it if you want to write it down. But today, Bobby showed everybody what she's made of.
Well, there's no question about that. You must be feeling better as well.
Me?
Yes, you were pretty down this morning. Remember you were saying how miserable everybody's been about Brock's killing? But something like this is going to ease the pain a lot.
Yeah, well, it clearly helps. This ordeal is going to affect a lot of people for a long, long time. I mean, the Webbers aren't going to forget this episode in a hurry. I guess they'll probably suffer more than Bobby will. At least she was given the advantage of being able to purge herself of any emotional hangover.
Do you think the Scorpios are going to be scarred by this?
Oh, terribly. Probably take them years to get over it.
Good.
Lifetime.
Good.
But as long as they've got one another, I'm sure they'll get by.
I hope Bobby finds someone.
Sure she will. A woman with her qualities isn't going to stay available for very long.
This really calls for a celebration. If I can get this...
Can you do that?
Oh, cork out!
Yay!
I tell you, I've been in many courtrooms in my time, and I've been through more trials than I care to count. But I have never or rarely seen justice triumph the way it did in that courtroom today. Even the DA rose to the occasion.
Surprised me.
Yeah.
And you're responsible, Bobby. There's something ennobling about the whole experience, you know? It makes you really feel good, doesn't it?
It'll feel great to get on with our lives.
Later. Right now, all we have to get on with is this party.
Well, where's Aunt Ruby? Ruby stopped by Kelly's, but she should be here any minute.
Speaking of...
All the fixings for a party.
Like enough for an army, Ruby.
Good. Well, with all the friends Bobby's made, we're going to need it. I'm so proud of you, I could bust.
You would have done exactly the same thing.
Ooh, my girl.
Jerry?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Bobby?
Thank you.
Ruby, get that coat off. Get over here.
I'm moving.
Terrific. To Bobby, the woman of the evening. She really showed us what it's all about today.
No, I'll drink to that. Now, about my cake.
Yes.
Ruby, did you see the look on Ginny's face when Bobby dropped the bombshell?
I'll bet that is the last thing she expected to hear.
Ginny came up to me in court afterward and thanked me. As if I'd done it for her.
Well, I figured because...
You know, Bobby, you not only freed her today, you freed yourself, too. You are just some incredible woman, Bobby. You know that? I could just...
What?
You know why I'm glad that Ginny got off and doesn't have to go to prison? Because Mike and Rick won't have to worry and suffer. They got to be thrilled.
This is so strange. I never thought I'd be in this house a free woman. Got a lot of adjustments to make.
Yes, we all have adjustments to make. Ginny, I don't know how to say this other than, just to say it. Shouldn't come as any surprise. You've won your verdict. But I know that you're aware that a great deal of damage has been done to our marriage.
I know that.
What you did to Bobby has changed all of my feelings about you.
I noticed that. Interesting, the courts found me not guilty. My own husband doesn't agree with the verdict.
Wait a minute, it has nothing to do with killing Brock. That I can understand, I do.
Bobby Brock agrees with the court. She doesn't want me to be punished either, and if anybody could be demanding revenge, it would be Bobby. But she's been able to rise above it. Obviously, you can't.
Ginny, I cannot forget what you did. I also can't forgive it.
Knowing how you feel, I think I should pack up and leave right now.
No.
No? Do you want me to stay?
For Mike's sake, you have to say, you leave now, you will destroy him. He is going to need both parents now more than ever in his life.
What do you need?
I need and I want the image of a happy home for him.
Like old times. When we first got married. Well, a lot's happened, Rick, and I don't know if I will be able to pretend after everything that's happened between us.
You changed all that.
I know. It's my fault. So I shall try to keep up the pretense. I shall, I'm just too tired to argue with you. So we'll do as you like, Dr. Weber.
Next, Tony Gary and General Hospital's Emma Sams join Steve Edwards and Nancy Dussault for 330. Also, Ed McMahon and Leo Biscaglia. All coming up next on 330, live at 3.